Hi, my name is Christer Lindström. You can read a little about me up there. I made this video in order to make people think a little about the future and why we are investing so much money into self-driving cars. I read an article in October last year from Bloomberg, and the headline said, even after 100 billion self-driving cars are going nowhere. And $100 billion, that's quite a lot of money. That's the scale of a small country somewhere. And I think it's very important to think about how much money we're putting into something that doesn't work at the moment. Of course, it makes it you go on the freeway and you can maybe even sleep in the car for a while, but mostly that's first of all, it's illegal, and even if it was illegal, still an issue several times, and we need to think a little more than that. And just putting in more technology into the car is more or less doing what we've been doing with the cars forever, just putting another band-aid. It's been everything from the very beginning. It was a very free product, then accidents started going, we had injuries, we had the seat belt, we had congestion, we had more lanes, and all these solutions ongoing is just more and more band-aids on the product, the car. It's a fantastic product. It's absolutely amazing. We can go from where you are to where you want to go. You go by yourself, with friends, with stuff, whatever you want to do. It's a really good product. But it's killingly, and not only ourselves, it's other people, and it uses massive resources to use this product, to produce it, to use it every day, to park it somewhere, because 95% of the time it's just parked, just staying somewhere. It's not going anywhere, and we're just using space and asphalt and concrete, whatever we do, to keep a product that's actually more or less not used. And some people say, okay, it can be shared, and with many people, we have little minibuses and everything, and that's definitely a good thing. I'm not against that. However, the big problem with having shared vehicles, autonomous, is that you actually get more traffic if there's not enough people sharing and using it. There's only one person for each time. We're just going to increase more traffic on the roads. So that's good that we can reduce the parking, but still going to have more traffic. And right now the roads are more or less full, and it's quite slow, especially in an urban area where you have traffic lights and pedestrians and different modes of transportation that intersect with what we're using right now against the cars. It creates a slow car, basically, on the urban area. Unless you're going in a freeway, it's not that efficient. So, is the self-driving car, and to some degree also the lithium and battery technology, is that maybe something we should not continue with? Maybe even the self-driving car is kind of like the story from H.G. Andersen of the story of the Naked King. So wanted to get new clothes, and everybody said they couldn't see it, couldn't see the clothes, and that's very nice linen. You were basically stupid. And kind of what people are telling you, that if you don't invest in self-driving cars, you're kind of stupid. But we don't see it. We don't see the clothes. We don't see the results. We don't see that the roads changes, that we have less cars on the roads, that people are sharing that, and it goes really slow. And even the people who's behind this, and according to this article from Bloomberg, that the people behind these ideas are kind of have distance to those ideas right now. And I think, do we really want to put another $100 billion into this? That's a lot of money. And can't we use that money in a different way? I think we should, absolutely. We should at least have some kind of insurance to make sure whatever we do for the next generations to come, and for what's going to have in the future regarding earth resources and the technology that is better for them for the future. And we should at least have a discussion about this. because as it is now, it just doesn't work, and we don't see the results. If we are investing, a couple of $100,000 into my own future, my pension, I don't want it to go to a technology that doesn't work. It might evaporate. And if I was an investment manager and fund manager, I would be very nervous about the calls I'm probably going to get them soon. I got really bad calls from the people telling you to take the money out or to redistribute them to other things. And I think we should do that. We should definitely think about what we do with our money for the future. So, what can we do instead then? Well, I call it insurance. It's kind of a contract between ourselves, that's somebody who's investing in the future and new ideas, and where we have agree on putting our future with the future idea. And what I want people to do is to create, you don't even put in all the money, you just you make a contract with yourself and the other people. And you put, sorry. What I think what we need to do is put in a new technology. What I want to do is something I call the contract. And the contract is an idea where you have kind of insurance to that something might hopefully work better than the self-driving cars and new single use of cars and what I suggest is another idea that I call the contract, where we together do something much smarter. And that is to put a lot of energy into youth and the future. And make sure to educate them and give them everything we can, and give them also the financial resource to do something for the future. It's much better. And I think we can do that in a very intelligent way. And the good thing is that we don't really need to put in $100 billion now. We just need to put a list of criteria. What is we don't want and what is what we want for the future. Not only what we want, but also what other people think, especially young people, what do they want for the mobility and the future cities and urban area, and also outskirts and out on the countryside. Everyone needs to have use of new mobility. And so what I suggest is, number one, we need to decide what not to do. The first thing not to do, we do not want congestion. We want it to be safe. We want it to be something we can share, that everybody can access to it. We should be use as less resources as possible, so we don't have 95% of the products and whatever we do into a solution, it's not used. It has to be used and shared between peoples. So you have a couple of very important circular economy ideas in the background of your head before you actually put in a proposal. But then you should also have, of course, a set of what you want to. So we need to make sure we have a lot of very easy understood things and points you have to put in this. And that's kind of what I call the contract. So it starts with a list of items you want. So I want it to be safe. Number one, whatever we comes up with has to be safe. We should feel safe inside the vehicle and outside, and no crashes, anything. Today it's over 1 million people dead in traffic every year. It's horrible. That's not acceptable. It has to be something that we are safe for ourselves and our children, our friends, and everyone. We should feel safe when we transport ourselves. We want it to be financially viable. We want it to be, because if we share the transportation system, it must be a way to keep the cost much lower than we have today. It must be a way to share those vehicles in a smart way, that we can go from A to B and share the same trip with a lot of other people, but also share it in a smarter way than what we do today. We want it to be inclusive. Everyone should be able to use it financially, but also regarding any disability or age, or if you're a child going to school, whatever. We want everyone should be able to use it in a safe way, of course. We want it to be comfortable and no congestion. It should be reasonably fast and effective, and we should go where we want to go in a reasonable time span, and make sure we don't have to wait for long hours just to wait in congestion. I understand there might be issues down the road, and there will be a technology we need to change and improve, but in general, it must be possible to have people to move around in a smarter way. It has to be intermodal. There's a lot of technologies around there. We must be able to connect with these different kind of, we have rail, we have light rail, we have buses, we have airplanes, a lot of modes of transportation actually either existing or planned right now. And those are good things. Those are shared systems. Unfortunately, work on a schedule, so it doesn't work the way I think it should be. Something that should not be necessary for a schedule, but still, that should be able to go to A to B, and the B should actually be another somewhere else. Oh, shit. It has to be good fit into the urban fabric. So it's important that we don't destroy sensitive parts of the city, that it's in a way, maybe it's just like this metro stations, you just have somewhere from some ground or in a way to find it so you don't destroy what you have, especially in sensitive areas of the cities. You don't want to destroy them, but still to have access to them. You must have access to those nice places. Of course, you also want it to be in a way you can use it anytime. You don't want to have a timetable. You want to go where, just like an elevator. You go to where you want to go, you push a button, and you get the vehicle immediately, and you push on the button where you want to go, either yourself or you share with other people or strangers around the line. And you don't want lines. You want to be able to go from A to B immediately. It must be a way to do that. So there are many criteria I think we set up. So those are, as I just repeat, so it's safe, it has to be economical, it has to be inclusive, comfortable, it must be efficient, intermodal, and a good fit in the urban landscape. And you should not need to wait for timetables and things like that. Doesn't make any sense anymore with the new modern technology. On top of that, we also need some kind of financial system behind this. Like I said before, we have a contract. And the way it works is that we set those criteria, and then you invest to someone, just like the Apollo moon landing. In the future, that idea with that in 61, I think when the Kennedy said we will put the man on the moon at 1970. And I think we should do the same here. We should say not go to the moon, but maybe have a system like this with those criteria to, let's say, 2035. That's going to be target. That we should have a technology like this proven. And what we do, we have that target, and then when we have that target, it's time to find a way to finance all these ideas. And we don't really need to do tons of investment. I don't think we need $100 billion per year or a couple of years. I think what we need is to encourage young entrepreneurs and universities, cities, anyone, to embrace this idea and give the money and the funds they need to actually go ahead with this idea. And there's a lot of good ideas out there. And I'm pretty sure there will be new, more really exciting ideas around that we need to support for. So number one, we need to invest in youth. Number two, we need to invest in their future and make sure we don't do the same mistake as we have now, because I don't see how the self-driving car with the lithium battery that just sits still for 95% of the time, or if it's used in the car but then increase traffic in the roads instead, if people don't share it and use it in the same vehicle, it won't work. We have to have people do it. There must be a way to do a smarter thing than what we do today. That's all I had to say today. I have thoughts but for the future, but that's what I have right today. Thank you for listening to me. Bye-bye.